and gentlemen, please welcome the great governor of the state of Montana, Honorable John Schweitzer.
States of America comes to the Gallatin Valley and meets Montana. Now, there's a lot of things that I'd like to tell the President about Jeanette Reagan, the first woman who served in Congress, or Burton K. Wheeler, who stood up to the President and said, "I won't allow you to trample on our Constitution." I'd like to tell the President that the snow of Montana is 70% of all the water that flows in the Missouri River drainage system. And Mr. Secretary of Interior Ken Salazar, 50% of the water that is stored in the Columbia River Basin is the snow melt of Montana every spring. Every spring. We refresh and renew the water supply for the entire country. And Mr. President, the people of Montana have ideas that will refresh and renew the entire country. It's a good place to listen to the people of Montana. He's going to be busy because he's got his family with him. And you know what? The only thing I am going to say to the President, Mr. President, my daughter, who's 19, is with me, and my wife, and I will never forget the day that I stood with my children while they saw Old Faithful go off for the very first time. Hold them close, because you will never forget the feeling that you have when their eyes get as big as saucers, seeing the majesty of God at work in the big sky country. That's what I will say. Now, we are going to have a conversation to showcase the people of Montana. We will have an opportunity to ask the President questions. I am absolutely sure that he would like to hear our ideas, and he would like to be able to explain to us the things that are changing in this country. I would ask that we do it in a respectful way, because in Montana, we can be disagreeing on things, but we are not disagreeable. Can you agree with me on that? I don't know a heck of a lot. As you know, if we're talking about energy, we go on for a long time, but it's healthcare. I'm not an expert in this area, but I've been learning and listening. And some of the things that I can tell you absolutely for sure, because I've been watching TV. And with all due respect to Mark Twain, there are lies, there are damn lies, and there's healthcare lies. That's something I do know for sure. Something else I know. I was actually at a meeting this morning at the Rotary here, and I had a person say to me, "Governor, what's the big hurry? Why are they rushing this health care debate in Washington, D.C.? I said, "Rushing? Did you know that this conversation's been going on for 60 years? Did you know that just 300 miles north of here, they offered universal health care 62 years ago? Did you know that this has been a continuous discussion? That every day of every week of every month of every year, healthcare professionals are discussing the healthcare system in America. It didn't start 3 months ago, and it won't finish 3 months from now. It will not finish, but we've got to move, because we have the most expensive healthcare on the planet, and we are rated 37 on the healthcare results. Canadian friends to the north. Many of you do. You get to Canada a lot. I know my Canadian premier friends probably better than I know the rest of the governors. And I was reading the Canadian press the other day, and one thing that really struck me is they had a national vote. They voted who is the most respected person in the history of Canada. Now, here's some of the options. Frederick Bunting. Frederick Bunting was the one who discovered insulin and helped millions of people all over the world with diabetes. A Canadian made the top 10, and that wasn't number one. Wayne Gretzky, the great one. John Macdonald, the equivalent of George Washington, the father of Canada, made the top 10, he wasn't number 1. Alexander Graham Bell, the telephone. Top 10, didn't make number 1. Number 1, drum roll please, a fellow by the name of Tommy Douglas. You got no idea who Tommy Douglas is in the United States? Let me tell you who Tommy Douglas is. He was the premier of Saskatchewan 62 years ago when he had a simple proposition: we will cover every single person in Saskatchewan with healthcare. I read the other day, I read the Canadian newspapers, and there was a journalist in Canada, and he said, there is a more likely occurrence of a person in Canada being struck with lightning than there is a person in Canada going to the United States for their health care. Answer this question for yourself. If the Canadians didn't think that they had a good health care system, even though they pay half as much as we do in the United States, do you think they would have voted Tommy Douglas, the skinny guy from the prairie, as the most respected person in the history of Canada? Think about that for a little bit. God bless you.